Cigar Mile Day 2024. Aqueduct, 10 races are scheduled for Saturday, December the 7th. This is first in a series of live streams that we're going to be doing on some of racing's biggest days to get you ready for the pick fives, the daily doubles, kind of go over some of the handicapping angles that I'm going to be taking a look at. As a reminder, in the description below, you can sign up for my free racing selections. I will be doing a Cigar Mile selections, all 10 races. I'll pick 3 of my top contenders in each of the race. Already I have a preview up of the Remsen. We have a preview up of the Demoiselle. Those are races on the road for the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks. We also have the Cigar Mile on Saturday, and the 4th race at Aqueduct is also a stakes race on Saturday. Overall, a strong 10-race card on Saturday for Cigar Mile, and it should be a good day of racing. Lots of wagering opportunities. You've got pick fives. You've got some pick fours. You've got some horses that I think are going to be some big favorites, but we also got a couple of races that are potentially a chance to get a little bit of chaos in. Now, remember, I'm going to kind of go over some of my contenders, some of the things that I'm looking at as I start to handicap these races. My final selections will be made usually on Saturday morning. I kind of give it one final comb through and then also wait for some of the scratches to come through. Again, it is a 10-race card. There is a couple of maiden races, and it's going to be Saturday, December the 7th at Aqueduct. And it's all part of the big card that does include the Grade 2 Cigar Mile. And we've also got the Remsen Stakes on the road to the Kentucky Derby. And we'll also be taking a look at the big favorite in the Demoiselle Stakes. Could be one of the big favorites on the day in Muhima, who goes for trainer Brad Cox in the Demoiselle Stakes. They are carding the Remsen Stakes before the Demoiselle Stakes on Saturday. Now, the Cigar Mile did draw a field of 11 horses. They did announce today on Friday that law professor number 6, he will be scratched on Saturday out of the Cigar Mile, and that is going to leave a field of 10. And we've got 4 Grade 1 winners in the Cigar Mile. You've got Bookham Dano, who won the Grade 1 Woody Stevens. You've got Mulligan, who won the Grade 1 Forgo. You've got Locked, who is a Grade 1 winner as a 2-year-old at Keeneland in the Breeders' Futurity. And we've also got Senior Buscador, who ran in the Cigar Mile last year, and he did win a Grade 1. He ran in Dubai. He won the Saudi Cup, and he's ran in the Breeders' Cup a couple of years in a row. So the Cigar Mile, even though it's a Grade 2, this is the final big race card day of the year on the national scene. The Cigar Mile will go as race number 9 out of the 10 races on Saturday. Now, let's take a look at some of the handicapping factors. Now, race 1 did draw a nice field. I think it's going to be a moderate pace going a mile. The favorites look strong in race number 1. I think I'm going to be keying on the top 3 favorites in my doubles and pick threes. Right now, I've got it down to a couple of main contenders. Again, factoring in a soft pace on Saturday. I've got Money Grab. I think she could be the class of the race going back to the dirt. And then Malu, the 9-5 Morning Lion horse, I think out of post position number 3, could be a strong contender in race number 1. Money Grab has been running on the turf, but some of her best races have been on the dirt. She's by Munnings out of a Maria's Mon mare, and Money Grab could be the one that I lean towards to on Saturday. Now, race 2, I think this is one of the races that have a chance of a little bit of an upsetter. We've got lots of unknowns. We've got some first-time starters. I do think we've got a potential for an upset on race number 2 on Saturday. And I'm not sure there really is going to be a big favorite in that race. So when I start to look at race number 2, when I see first-time starters, when I see some horses with some good pedigrees, I'm always going to look for a little bit of a price in a race like that. The horses that I'm considering right now, you may want to take a look at. Total Silence, kind of a pop and stop in that first race, comes back, draws well. And then you've got a first-time starter, Goodbye, number 7. I think that is one to take a look at in race number 2 on Saturday, part of the Cigar Mile card. As we go to race number 3, key things to note in race number 3, we've got 3 first-time starters. We've got 4 second-time starters at Aqueduct in race number 3. Some of the first-time starters, you've got Superpower with Christophe Clement, and then you've also got Take Home the Cup, another one of the first-time starters on Saturday at the Big A. Now, race number 3, some of the horses that I'm still kind of considering, you've got Take Home the Cup, you've got Timely Decision, a Bourbon for Toby, and then Snooky Bear, another one to consider in that race. Take Home the Cup, a first-time starter by Liam's Map out of a More Than Ready mare, should be able to run well, I think, especially here at Aqueduct in race number 3. As we look ahead, we start to go into the stakes portion of the card on Saturday. Race number 4, I think there's kind of a lack of pace. I think there's a lone speed potential in race number 4, the Gopher Wand, and it does have a little bit smaller of a field. And some of the contenders that I'm going to be taking a look at, Tizzy in the Sky, 2 races back in the Top Flight Invitational, she got loose off slow fractions and she won by 9. And she did it at a little bit 4 to 5 on the dollar. If you notice, Todd Pletcher trains, then went up to the grade 1 Ogden Phipps, cuts back down here in class in the Gopher Wand Stakes. If you notice at Aqueduct, 7 starts, 4 wins, and 2 seconds. And it also goes to Flavian Prat tomorrow on Saturday. Tizzy in the Sky, post position number 1, 3 to 1 morning line. I think that horse is definitely going to be live in that Gopher Wand Stakes. Definitely a horse to take a look at. Now, some of the contenders I'm looking at, you've got Occult and Shabuti for both Gopher trainer Chad Brown. Tizzy in the Sky, the 1 horse, again, 4 for 7 at Aqueduct and draws inside, gets Flavian Prat. That's going to go as race number 4 at Aqueduct on Cigar Mile Day. Now, race number 5, a couple of different contenders to take a look at. Al's Ruby, only 1 race, won that race. And then you've got Peony, another Christophe Clement. He's got 2 horses in this race. And then you've got Nolita on the outside. She gets blinkers on. I think that makes her a little bit interesting in this race as you look at some of the contenders. Remember Nolita as a contender by Leo Bond. That's one of the better sires in New York. Bill Mott trains. It does get blinkers on. It does have 1 win in 6 starts for Nolita. But Nolita, with those blinkers on, if you notice, the only win of her career was at Aqueduct. It was going a mile on a sloppy track. And with those blinkers, I could think that she could be more forwardly placed in race number 5, Nolita, number 9. And then you get Junior Alvarado, Bill Mott's go-to jockey in the race for race number 5. Nolita, definitely one to take a look at. Race number 6 is a maiden race. Did want to point out that Army Gale is a first-time starter. The mare on that horse, Renee's Queen was a good 2-year-old. So this one could be precocious. It was 4th in the Landalusi and 7th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. She had a little bit of class. Army Gale, good breeding. The sire is Army Mule. He seems to get some fast winners and some horses capable of winning first time out. Army Gale, number 1 in race 6. Again, these are horses that I'm going to be taking a look at. I will be finalizing my picks on Saturday morning. The picks will come out right after the scratches are announced for the day. If you want to sign up below in the description. That is race number 6. Another race is the Remsen Stakes. It's going to be race number 7. A nice field of horses. We've got a mixture of some shippers. We've also got some local horses from Aqueduct. One of them to take a look at is Tux. I do have a preview video of the Remsen Stakes up. We go over some of the contenders. If you have some questions or comments, make sure to leave them in the comments below. Tux by Tappet, one race. The mare Fancy Dress was a nice runner. Of course, a little bit of a question on the pedigree for distance on the mare side. Fancy Dress is by Munnings. Those horses tend to prefer shorter distances up to a mile. But Tappet, of course, has sired several Breeders' Cup Belmont Stakes winners. Tappet, the sire of Tux, L&J Foxwoods, Belmont again, and the go-to jockey, Junior Alvarado. Alvarado rode this one to victory. Now, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge going from 6.5 furlongs to a mile and an eighth in start number 2, but it did win its debut. It was right around 3-1 in that race and did pick up a buyer of 78 in that debut win for Tux. Now, another one to look at is Aviator Gee. This one is one of 2 horses for Chad Brown. It's 1-for-1 at Aqueduct. Then it did go to the turf race, the AWAD Stakes. What I like about that maiden victory at a mile, kind of laid off that slow pace. I think it could be a little bit slower pace on Saturday in the Remsen Stakes. You've got Uncle Mo as the sire, a little bit of a win early pedigree. Manny Franco as the jock, and Aviator Gee could be 6-1 on the morning line. You know, I think the price is going to go up because it lost on the turf, but it did win on the dirt, and it did run 7 furlongs. Chad Brown usually puts some of his nice second and third stringers maybe in the Remsen Stakes. He likes to get them ready with a couple of starts. Remember last year, Sierra Leone running in the Remsen Stakes, and he's had a few other runners over the years in that Remsen Stakes for trainer Chad Brown. Of course, Chad Brown with Key Wadden, also the 6-5 morning line favorite in the Remsen Stakes. But Aviator Gee, a little bit of a price maybe if you're looking for a price in the Remsen Stakes on Saturday. And as you look at this race, another one to consider is Owen Hardy. Owen Hardy had a little bit of an upset last week with First Resort. That was at Churchill Downs at 7-1. Poster, 2-for-2. It goes for Godolphin, but look at some of the nice angles. You've got Owen Hardy, a nice win last week. The sire is Munnings, but the mare is Tappet. And so a little bit of a distance on the broodmare sire. 5-1 morning line. That's a good price. Godolphin Blue. And then Flavian Prat going to ride for the first time. Poster on Saturday. Definitely take a look at this one. I think it's going to be a bet down a little bit off that 5-1 morning line. But Poster by Munnings out of a Tappet mare and 2-for-2 on the turf goes to the dirt. But I think this horse could be more effective on the dirt here in the Remsen Stakes. Then we go to the Demoiselle Stakes, taking a look at this race. A lot of ways you can go in this race, but I'm going to go with Muhima. This is definitely going to be one of the big favorites on the day. Muhima is 4-5 on the morning line. Look at those 2 big wins. She's won by 7 in her debut. 6 furlong call was 109 and change. She ran 6.5 furlongs in 1:15.3. She got an 83 buyer. She came back. She won by 5. She's been favored in both her races. Brad Cox trains. And again, another one out of a Tappet mare. The Tappets are coming out all across. But Muhima by Munnings, of course, Munnings again, normally hires sires up to a mile to a mile and 16th. But Muhima, bred to be a good one for Shadwell Stable. And I like the way this one has won both of her career starts. Brad Cox, of course, he had good cheer last week at Churchill Downs. He won the Breeders' Cup with Immersive. He's got all of these good fillies. You kind of got to separate them out. Muhima, one of the favorites. I do want to point out the horse that was second to Muhima in that allowance race was Liam in the Dust. Liam in the Dust ran in the Alcibiades, a grade 1, and then she also was second to La Cara in the Pocahontas Stakes. She's got some speed. Those two could run all 1-2 all the way around the track here going 1.125 miles. My only question mark on Mohima might be the distance at 1.125 miles, but I think she's going to be one of the key horses of the day. If you take her, you probably got to single her in the pick 5. If you toss her, then you can make that a chaos race and take 2 or 3 other horses in that Demoiselle Stakes on Saturday. That's going to go as race number 8, the Demoiselle Stakes. Then we've got the Cigar Mile. Again, Law Professor is going to scratch. Let's take a look at some of the contenders in the Cigar Mile on Saturday, part of a 10-race card. Now, we've got some Grade 1 winners. We've got Mulligan, the morning line favorite at 3-1. Senior Buscador is probably going to be about 5-1. Locked is probably going to be bet down to 5-2 to 3-1. And then Bookham Dano, the winner of the Woody Stevens, he's probably most likely going to take a lot of money. Of course, you had Post Time running the money in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, and Coastal Mission, a Grade 2, Grade 3 horse. He kind of fits here in the Cigar Mile. The Cigar Mile is officially a Grade 2 race. It used to be a Grade 1, but I do think this is a highly well-meant race, and a lot of good horses do point for this race. So it's an above-average Grade 2. You've got Bookham Dano. My main concern about Bookham Dano, I think he's got a big shot here. He's going to go from 7 furlongs to a mile, but he's had races in February all the way through December now, a long campaign. He passed on a race at Mahoning Valley earlier this week. Bookham Dano probably going to be right around 7-2 or 3-1, and Bookham Dano overall a contender and 4-1 in the morning line. Now you've got Mulligan. I think this one is a contender. He won the Grade 1 4-go at 7 furlongs. He's got wins at Wire to Wire. He won at Churchill Downs. He ran in a fast Breeders' Cup Sprint. I thought the Breeders' Cup Sprint was an above-average race this year. Thought the winner, Straight No Chaser, is one of the better Breeders' Cup Sprint winners. He stretches out. He ran an even third in that race. They win 1 mile and 6 furlongs and 108 and change. I think Mulligan could be strong here at the 1 mile distance, and this would be a nice resume builder. He had a strong campaign overall for Mulligan. Now, Senior Buscador, you know, you can go both ways. He drops a little bit in class out of the Breeders' Cup Classic. He ran 3rd in the Dubai World Cup, but he's only 1 for 6. He's kind of been bet down in some of his races. He did surprise in the Saudi Cup, but only 2 wins in his last 12 starts. Senior Buscador, 7 for 22. He's another one with a long campaign. He did run 2nd in the Pegasus World Cup Classic. He's going to be right around 5-1, 4-1. That's not too low of a price, but he has not been winning races in his most recent races, and he does face other horses that are sharper at 7 furlongs to that 1 mile distance. Now, Post Time, he ran big in the Whitney. He ran big in the Carter. He ran in the Breeders' Cup. He doesn't normally run well early. He's been closing late. I didn't think he really ever had a chance to win the Whitney. He kind of closed late in that race. The Carter, I thought he got up a nice stride in time in the last few strides. So Post Time, definitely a contender at right around 7-1 or 8-1. One to take a look on Saturday. Overall, he's ran on the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. He won the Polynesian. He got loose at Laurel. I think he likes the 1 mile distance. He's 1 for 2 at Aqueduct and 9 for 14 wins lifetime for Post Time going in the Cigar Mile on Saturday. Coastal Mission seems to hit hard at this distance. He's got a mile win victory in the 49er. He ran big in the Parks Dirt Mile, comes in looking for 3 wins in a row. He was 5th in the Cigar Mile in 2023 for Coastal Mission. So we've got him coming back here in 2024. Another one, Law Professor did scratch. Pipeline's got some speed. I think people might overlook him. He's got a nice win in his last start at Churchill Downs. If it comes up sloppy or some rain, you might want to take a look at Pipeline, who's by Spacetown and does have some speed. He could add a little bit of pace to the race if he gets out early along with Mulligan. Now, Locke just won race in 2024. He was bet down to the big favorite. He won that race for trainer Todd Pletcher. He won at Keeneland, a grade 1 race, the Keeneland Futurity last year. He's got a big reputation. I think he's going to be bet down. He's by Candy Ride. He's got a chance to win, but I don't want to take too low of a price. He was injured earlier in this year. He is pointing for the Pegasus, so he's got a little bit of class, but some question marks. I don't want to take too low of a price on Locked here in the Cigar Mile, but he definitely can win it. The 6 furlong pace, how I'm seeing it, is Mulligan and Pipeline early, chance to battle it out. Pipeline could be on the lead. Mulligan could come from second. Then you've got Bookham Dano. He should get a good trip from that rail post position. Then you've got Post Time, Locked, and Coastal Mission kind of coming from mid-pack. Senior Buscador is going to be your closer. Overall, I expect an average pace in the Cigar Mile, and I think it favors horses near the lead on Saturday. So I think Mulligan, Pipeline, and Bookham Dano, and maybe Locked have a little bit more of an edge. I think the closers are going to be up against it with that average pace that I'm projecting for the Cigar Mile. Now, again, 11 horses entered. Bookham Dano is a grade 1 winner. You've got Mulligan, the 4-go winner. Locked, probably going to be bet down to the co-favorite. And then Law Professor has been scratched. It's going to be race number 9 of the 10 races on Saturday. Of course, we've got the Remsen Stakes on the Kentucky Derby prep schedule. Next weekend, we've got the Springboard Mile. We're going to be doing a preview of that race. We've got the La Salle Futurity. And then at the end of the month, we go to the Fairgrounds for their big card. We've got the Gun Runner Stakes, and we should get some nice fillies and mares. We've got fillies for the Untappable Stakes and then the Gun Runner Stakes. We'll have previews of both of those later on this month. Free racing selections for the Cigar Mile. Sign up below in the description. It comes out Saturday, about a half hour before post, and then you're signed up for the rest of the year. And for 2025, it's free. Sign up below in the description. And the Triple Crown Prospectus, 2,000 words every Monday, starts up on January the 6th. We're going to go take you all the way through the Belmont Stakes with our focus on the 2-year-old colts and fillies. And that'll start on Saturday, on Monday, January the 6th, the first edition. Every Monday, it's free all the way through the Belmont Stakes. So the Cigar Mile card on Saturday, my picks will be out. Do one final rundown. Probably my best bet of the day is going to be Mohima in the Demoiselle Stakes. She's going to be 4-5, but I've been impressed with both of her races. A big, robust filly. She's got the fastest speed figures. She's got the fastest pace figures, and she's got strong pedigree being a Shadwell homebred. Mohima in race number 8 on Saturday in the Demoiselle could be my single in the pick 5 on Saturday. That is a look at some of the racing from Cigar Mile Day. 10 races on Saturday at Aqueduct. And remember, leave a comment or questions for future live streams. We'll be having another one coming up in the next few weeks, and then we'll close out the month with the big card at the Fairgrounds at the end of the month. Leave a comment, share, like, and subscribe. Cigar Mile Day 2024.